8, I swear I'll destroy every one of these blasted machines if I have to. Somehow. Oh! Who would you be? Did the Clockwork Apostles send you? Oh, well, because the halls of regulation is breaking down. Naturally. I sent a request for aids ages ago. I would have fixed things by now, but the repair factotums keep attacking me. They see anyone who enters as an intruder. Truly? Why, that's most excellent. Now, the very fate of Clockwork City's clean water supply rests in our hands, so we must act quickly. I know the locations of the machines in need of repairs, but we'll have to search around for specific parts. Based on the schematics, I believe the vapor manifold and distillation initiator both need repairs. Easy enough for one of my talents. We just need a ventilation gear and a cleansing crystal. They should be fairly straightforward to find. Right. I suppose any structure as impressive as this would inspire questions. Well, ask them quickly. Time is of the essence, and the Clockwork Apostles aren't very lenient when it comes to failure. Perhaps you haven't noticed, but the water around here is filthier than the Murkmire's swamps. Take a sip from any stream or pool and you'll get a mouthful of oil. That's where the halls of regulation comes into play. Collects, cleans, redistributes, does it all really. It also creates water moisture in the air, producing a hospitable environment for natural life. I'm not sure if we would die of thirst or desiccation first, were it to completely shut down. I'm not sure, actually. My most prevailing theory is that the newcomers have overburdened the water cycle process, which has led to some sort of malfunction. At this point, the factotums are doing more harm than good with their erratic behavior. Perhaps the water cycle will shut down completely, but it's more likely that contaminants will pollute the drinking reserve, which would make the water effectively poison. I'm sure you don't need me to spell out what a disaster that would create. The Clockwork Apostles are a group of scholars dedicated to Sothaseel. They are the de facto rulers of Clockwork, given that their god of mysteries doesn't get out much. Naturally, they would be concerned that their drinking water is in danger. Well, how was I? I mean, how were they supposed to know the factotums would malfunction and become aggressive? According to the schematics, they're designed to repair the halls of regulation, not defend it. I most certainly can. I learned all about their functions before arriving. Which would you like to hear about first? These gears help run the vapor manifold, the central control for the humidifying processes of the halls of regulation. It seems that the malfunction is causing them to spin far too rapidly, grinding them down to an unusable state. Of course not. I'll make the necessary repairs first and then replace the gear. It should go as smoothly as a piston in a reciprocating pneumatic cylinder. It's the main source of arcane energy for the distillation initiator. The filtration system can only decontaminate the water so much. This ensures that water is safe for human consumption, a vitally important part of the distillation process. The currently placed cleansing crystal is still active, but I don't believe that will be the case for very long, which means we should make the necessary repairs post-haste. Based on the schematics, I believe the vapor manifold and distillation initiator both need repairs. Easy enough for one of my talents. We just need a ventilation gear and a cleansing crystal. They should be fairly straightforward to find. Aha! The cleansing crystal is cracked, just as I suspected. We'll need to find a replacement. Excellent. This is just what the distillation initiator needs. I'm glad we could find one in such good condition. For a moment there, I was worried that the factotums had whisked them all away. What a lucky find! I make the necessary repairs. I should be done in but a moment. I just blasted! I mean, no worries. I meant to do that. Now, we don't have time for dawdling. The distillation initiator still needs to be fixed after all. We just need to find a cleansing crystal. Now, I just need to replace the crystal without causing irreversible damage. No problem. It worked? I mean, of course it worked. I knew what I was doing the entire time. We have but one more task ahead. The geotic dynamo that fuels the galvanic engine needs to be replaced. However, it's located in the regulation chamber, which is protected by a guardian factotum. You'll have to fend it off if I'm to make repairs. What? What a silly question. It's malfunctioning, of course. Just like the repair factotums. The Apostles didn't even know there were issues when they sent me here for routine maintenance. Obviously, they weren't aware of the malfunctions. Oh, I'm certain you'll have to. But trust me when I say that factotum is doing more harm than good. If we let it be, then it will just destroy all the repairs I've set into place. I'm sure of it. Not that I think we'll be given a choice. I'm very certain. If we don't fix the galvanic engine, then there's a strong possibility that the entire system will shut down. This is the most crucial repair yet. Please, you've trusted me this far. Just one more fix and we'll be in the clear. You know, I think I'll just stay out here until you've dealt with our little friend, just as a precaution. We need to enter the regulation chamber quickly. I'm not sure how long the galvanic engine will last. The guardian factotum doesn't destroy it first, that is.
Hostile intruder detected. Initiating function.
I really don't like your odds. Yes, this certainly looks like the galvanic engine that I'm going to fix now. Right now. Here I go. And this goes here, and then, of course, this goes over here, and if I just put this here, it's fixed? It's fixed! Yes! My plan worked. The Clockwork Apostles will have to accept me now. Can't believe we were actually able to do it. The halls of regulation are up and running again. Our repairs won't hold forever, but I should be able to maintain function in the meanwhile. I don't think it's too much to say that I'm truly a genius. Oh, there's absolutely no need to concern yourself about that. I assure you, all that matters is that the Brass Fortress will have water tonight because of us. Am I right? Here, you've been such a great help. You should be properly rewarded. Isn't there some other adventure you should be off to? Oh, Tilly, why did you have to open your stupid mouth? Look, I was honest about the halls of regulation needing repair, and every danger I outlined was of immediate concern. However, I may have embellished my connections with the Apostles. Well, I suppose that I had a connection at all. When I arrived in Clockwork, I was immediately drawn to the Apostles. I knew they could help me strengthen not only my magic, but also my technical skills, which are already quite impressive. Exactly so. It seems dark elf blood runs a little deeper here than they'd like to admit. I was an outsider, and compared to many here, my magic is still weak at best. I'm sure my round ears also didn't help make an impression. But I was determined. I found the schematics in a public depository and decided to research the mechanics in order to build upon my technical proficiency, perhaps even make some improvements. I thought it might give me the edge I needed to join the Apostles. I really am sorry about that. I panicked when you showed up and thought you might inform the Apostles. I wanted at least a chance to make repairs. And it all worked out in the end. Clockwork City still has water, and I have my edge. Positive. I have a far better understanding of the mechanics now, and within a few weeks, I'll have a permanent repair. That's when I'll report my success to the Apostles. Thank you for helping me accomplish this. It truly means the world to me.
Someone! Anyone? We need help here! I knew that if I called out long enough, someone would find me! Quickly now, come inside. Cultists have knocked the stars from our sky, and we have to put them back before all Lord Set's memories are taken for good! Oh, drat. Look, it's easier to explain once we're inside the mnemonic planisphere. That's where Lord Set stores his memories by... well, it's just easier to show you first. Yes, exactly! You're a quick learner. I need someone who can fight off these cultists and help me return the stars to the planisphere sky. Please, you have to help us. This task is of the most vital importance. Quickly, follow me. The planisphere is right through this door. Astronomer! I found someone who can help us. Are you all right? Please, rest if you need it.
I have maintained these stars for millennia. Do not concern yourself.
Yes, much easier to explain now. This is the mnemonic planisphere, where Sotha's sealed memories take the form of stars. We need your help to reclaim the stars that have fallen and place them back in the sky. If not, all shall be lost. All this knowledge! Sotha Seal's memories are our most important source of inspiration, of discovery. Without them, the Clockwork Apostles will be lost, stagnant and unguided. Please, for the sake of our most sacred knowledge, you must help. Thank you for understanding what this means to my order. I need you to gather the primary stars belonging to the points of our constellations. Once enough stars are returned to the rightful place, the rest should fall into ranks. Eventually. With this. Now, this device has a very fancy, proper name, but I simply call it the Star Scooper. Use it to gather the stars you see floating around the halls, and bring it back here to the astronomer. He'll know what to do next. Questions? Let's say there's a memory the Lord Set wishes to store. First he turns the memory into a star, which forms in an associated constellation chamber. A powerful spell will form in the Mage's Wing, a great victory in the Warriors. Exactly so. It then travels to the Planisphere Center, where we teach the star its place in the sky. We send it to a forming room if Lord Set wishes to access the memory, or for apostles to study from. Each star has wisdom to share. Well, that would certainly complicate things. Lord Set still remembers, but in a distant way. He can analyze these memories rationally, without their emotional attachments clouding his divine judgment. At least, that's what the astronomer told me. Astronomer is the title given to the caretaker of the planisphere. Astronomer, stars, you know. The current astronomer has been around almost as long as the Clockwork City has. The blessings of a god really can do wonders for your lifespan. Why, I'm his apprentice! Sorry, should have led with that. He only recently chose me as his replacement, though I'm not sure this is a position you can just retire from, if you catch my drift. I suppose even a god's blessing can only last so long. Oh, all a matter of perspective here in Clockwork, age and whatnot. I assure you I've always been quite diligent in my studies, and the astronomer says I show promise. Well, I mean, he hasn't outright said that to me, but I just get that feeling. Their memories given form. Makes sense, doesn't it? After all, our thoughts are as numerous as the stars in the sky. And they're actually called multiplanar mnemonic receptacles, but I just find stars easier to say. Memories are distracting little things, and Lord Set has more of them than most of us combined. Storing them here allows him to focus his divine intellect on the current task at hand. And the tasks of a god? Very important things. I don't believe they're after memories precisely, but rather information. The planisphere houses much of Sotha Seal's most sacred wisdom. Let all that knowledge fall into the wrong hands? I can't even imagine the vile possibilities. You're in for a real treat. Not many get to witness this. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Sorry, but I have to go check on something. The astronomer will explain.
Six stars refuse to answer my call, and the primary constellations remain incomplete. Their instability threatens the integrity of the entire planisphere. Unless returned, I fear all memories will be lost, even to the Clockwork God himself. The planisphere was created as an extension of Lord Set's consciousness. Connected, yet apart. An endless sky of divine knowledge, perfectly preserved. We must protect the planisphere at all costs. We must help the stars remember. Memories are fragile, easily broken, easily swayed. My powers of guidance and preservation are not so easily replicated. The cultists seek to control, but only corrupt. I must stay here to keep the constellations stable. It is up to you. Go to the calibration guides located upon the platforms which surround us. Use them to guide the missing stars back to their rightful place in the sky. My apprentice will show you how. I see questions are burning within you. Ask, and I may answer. They seek to control the planisphere, and believe these stars will help them with that task. The corruption is merely a result of trying to view the memory without my aid. Clockwork City was created by a god of reason. Here, knowledge is power. To control the planisphere would be to control the omni-axle, the center of the wheel. The means to change the very reality we know. A dangerous power. I am the astronomer, keeper of the stars. A wheel that ever turns. It goes beyond my own mere flesh. Soon, my apprentice will receive this title, and I will take my final step upon this path. I have upheld this divine task for millennia. My devotion may be unwavering, but my flesh is not. I must give this duty to another before my power fades. Only then will I allow myself to finally rest. Do not let her cheerful demeanor fool you. Her magic is strong, and her connection to the stars is uncommonly clear. Within her, I have found the successor I've searched centuries to find. And she takes great pride in that. My apprentice is an oddity among our order, yet refuses to change. A stubbornness that will serve her well, or perhaps be her undoing. We shall see. I know her devotion to be unwavering, for the planisphere would cease to be without an astronomer to guide it. I only have so much power left within me. She will do what is best for her god and her people. In that I have faith.
Are you content, Lord Sophasil? Is there anything I can retrieve for you? A book, perhaps? Something to eat?
I'll just take the stars again, right after taking your life.
The stars have forgotten where they belong. Use the calibration guides on the floor to show them where to go. The matching constellation on the planisphere's sky will show you the way. In the meantime, I'll continue to keep the stars stable. This is a rather tricky process. The stars are fragile things, easily overwritten by stray thoughts and memories. All my concentration is needed to keep my mind clear. The astronomer's much better at this than I am, but I'm what you have. He has to concentrate on keeping the planisphere's constellations stable. They're susceptible to breaking apart again in their incomplete state. Not only that, but I'd rather keep him from any strenuous activity. Wouldn't want him to break a hip. Now, the Star Scooper kept a record of what was inside those stars. Let's have a look, shall we? A fragment in memory of Lord Set speaking to someone. This must have been what the cultists were looking for.
Stewardship of my memories carries a high price, all of us. One that you must pay willingly.
Wait, was that the astronomer? He was so young! And with hair! Not half bad looking either. The stars have forgotten where they belong. Use the calibration guides on the floor to show them where to go.
You wish me to go to this location, Lord Sophasil? I would be happy to. It should only take a few years to walk there.
I don't want to hurt you, but now I'm going to.
Plans. Destroy.
Still here. Thanks for asking. Seems as though we make a rather good team.
So be it. I'll leave you the knowledge of this spell to bestow upon your successor when the time comes.
Maybe the cultists want to learn how to perform the spell. Just a moment, let me concentrate.
I understand. I'd sacrifice anything to serve you, my lord.
Sacrifice? Well, that doesn't sound very good. We've collected all the memory fragments we need. Let's head back to the Planisphere Center so we can watch the whole thing.
My apprentice wishes to speak to you.
Now that we've returned the stars and recovered the memory fragments, the astronomer can use the nemograph here to play the full memory back. I'm rather curious about its contents. We need to be able to reform memories at a moment's notice. After all, apostles often travel from the Brass Fortress to research Lord Set's thoughts. This nemograph translates the starlight into a visual form. I just know it's him. It looks like he's receiving some sort of boon from Lord Set, but I don't understand why that would be important to the cultists. I doubt you can easily replicate the powers of a god, even with the memory of the spell.
Stewardship of my memories carries a high price, Orvas. One that you must pay willingly.
I understand. I'd sacrifice anything to serve you, my lord. Even my memory.
Wait, the
So be
sacrifice
it.
is his
I'll
memory?
leave you the knowledge of this spell to bestow upon your successor when the time comes.
Of course, my lord, but will it hurt?
You will not remember.
No! It can't be!
Now you know the truth. It is time.
You never told me of this sacrifice. My life, yes, I'll give it. But my mind, my whole being.
Speak with her. Go to Amelie. Perhaps you will help her find the answer she seeks. Yes, I have no memories of my life before the planisphere, or why I agreed to become what I am. But I hold no regrets. My path was set before me, and I walk it ever faithful. Amelie knows that this is her duty. Speak to her, and you will see.
I know my duty. My whole life has been devoted to this path laid before me. I know the risks, the repercussions to the planisphere should I refuse, the repercussions to my god. Why then? Why am I so scared? Manipulating the stars requires severe concentration. They're easily corrupted by stray thoughts, rendering them useless. Not having a memory must help ease that burden. The excitement of becoming an apostle, my frustration when so many doubted me, how nervous I was for my first kiss. To give it all away, I would lose more than my memories. I would lose myself. I know the astronomer's power is fading. I feel it. He needs to transfer his power, and soon. If he dies before another apprentice could be found, the planisphere needs me. My god needs me. Can I really be so selfish? I've always been Amelie. Good for a joke, here for a laugh. Surely that's my purpose in life. I can best serve Lord Set by bringing both joy and discovery. I've made my choice. Will you stand with me as I tell the astronomer? You make me feel brave. I'm sorry, astronomer. I just can't do it. I just can't give up who I am. I can better serve Lord Set as myself, and I'll find someone to take my place, I swear it. Someone willing.
So be it. You have made your choice, Apostle. And now you will bear the consequence. You will be shunned from our order, cast out until the time which you can undo the wrong you have begot upon your people. Until you have brought me my successor.
I'll do it. I'll accept this fate.
May Sotha watch over your path, for I can no longer guide you. What is it that you want? I have maintained this position for over a millennium. It is my sole purpose, the path given to me by the divine metronome. I have no regrets. I thank you for your efforts. A reward is common for these situations, yes? Here you are. I must attend to the planisphere. I have much to prepare, and for the first time within my memory, I feel the weight of my hours. Still, you have done much for these sacred halls. What is it that you wish to ask? The cultists corrupted many mnemonic receptacles in their search for information. It will take time to restore these memories and guide them to their place in the sky. They are of little concern to me. Once the stars are guided, I shall focus my energies on expelling them from the planisphere. Until then, my power will be sufficient to keep them at bay.
How dare you, Kermit? Your mother wanted a better future for you.
Because a factotum with delusions of grandeur told her fortune. Do you really believe that?
She believed it. Why can't you see?
See what? That following the predictions of a deluded machine got my mother killed? I'll prove the prognosticator is a fraud. See if I don't.
Please, unless you have gold to spare or something other than paste to eat, just leave me alone.
That display of emotion isn't indicative of the people of Slagtown. Carmid lost his mother in the last pilgrimage, and that's made him angry at the world. He has a point, though. Dreams and prophecies can be dangerous things. Once every season, the most brave and desperate members of our community make the journey to request a fortune from the Grand Prognosticator. Not everyone receives a prediction, but many have died hoping to have their destinies changed. An oracle of sorts. It's an unusual factotum with a penchant for the mystical and the dramatic. I fear Carmid plans to do something foolish and dangerous. Perhaps you'd be willing to go to the Outlaw's Refuge and talk to him? Keep him safe? Thank you, my friend. My old bones aren't up to another adventure, but I owe it to Carmid's mother to do whatever I can to keep him safe. The Grand Prognosticator spits out fortunes the way a sawmill spits out lumber. All the same until one isn't. More or less. Something about abject poverty and a miserable existence. But every once in a great while, the factotum provides a different prophecy. I received such a fortune when I made my pilgrimage so many years ago. A fortune of hope, of riches beyond my wildest dreams. It spoke of a way to escape this life, but I wasn't brave enough to heed the prognosticator's words. Carmid calls the oracle a fraud. Maybe so, but even a cracked egg sometimes contains a scrib.
Go find another beggar to bother. I've got more important things to do than carry some apostle's hopeful sack of dirty laundry. Paul Batten's an old fool and a coward. He knows that the prognosticator provides nothing but false hope and dangerous dreams to our people. That's what got my mother killed. I swore I'd never let another person get caught up in its games. Prove that the prognosticator is a liar and a fraud. It tells them over and over again how terrible life is, and then once every generation it provides an actual fortune to keep them coming back. So I'm going to the Vale of Tears to destroy it. You want to help? I won't refuse, though I don't have anything to give you, if that's what you're after. The Vale of Tears lies to the southwest. If you really want to help, meet me there. I've never gone on a pilgrimage, but I've heard tales. The poor and weak will continue to be poor and weak. We'll live a miserable existence and then die from hunger or sickness. Cheerful, right? Makes you wonder why we keep asking the question. because every once in a great while it actually spits out a different prediction. Something about finding a lost treasure and attaining enough wealth to change the course of your destiny. Or something close enough to that to get everyone excited. Of course I believe that! Why else would I want to prove the prognosticator wrong? I want to show everyone that we can make our own futures. We can shape our own destinies, despite what some malfunctioning factotum has to say.
I think I'm getting close.
Bren, this stew tastes like it was steeped in rusty nuts. Maybe we should just stick to eating the paste. It's not so bad eating the same soft, bland mush every meal. Forever. Sorry. I should try and finish this while it's still warm. You think it might taste better cold?
Just like home.
Come in search of a hot meal? Hard to come by here, I know, but mark my words, one day there'll be more than just the aroma of bubbling brass wafting out of Slagtown. People are going to come from far and wide to try what's making it. Or a mud mixer, might as well be the same thing most days. Getting ingredients that pass for edible is a challenge in Slagtown. Solus Romathron's got real mushrooms he's been dangling in front of me, but he won't sell to the likes of us. Really? Well, if you got me some fresh ones from the halls of regulation, that'd be a start. But they aren't much good like that. Solus has some trick to making them edible he keeps closely guarded. Maybe you could pilfer his secret recipe for me? Mind yourself around Solus. He's a mean one with friends in high places. Helps him keep his monopoly on the mushroom trade. He won't take kindly to anyone poking around. Oh, he's the type to keep records on anything he considers worth remembering, especially if it can make him a profit. I'm sure he's got his notes tucked away in his office, maybe even under lock and key. Be best not to mention us then. It wouldn't help your case being associated with Slagtowners. I'd hate to see you get in trouble on our account, but we're just scraping by, you understand? Oh, I reckon anything that can grow here is special, but from what I gather, they got real flavor. Might even be strong enough to take the edge off fabricant meat. I've tried, but no amount of boiling, chopping, or mashing did the trick. Those mushrooms are tougher than shoe leather and full of spores any way you dice them. Besides, they're hard enough to come by without me wasting them on trial and error. Can't really say that any of the Tinkerer's creations were designed with edibility in mind, but there's only so much of that mushy food paste a person can eat in one lifetime. I was raised on the stuff and I can barely stand it. Doesn't make me much of a wood elf, does it? All my parents used to talk about over dinner was the wild game from home. Everyone from outside gets the same look in their eye when talking about their favorite meal. It's why I took up cooking. Don't I know it? But if I can make the days a little easier for even one person, it'll be worth it. And if I only wind up making something so bad the paste is good by comparison, well, that's a victory in a way, right?
Raynor, you let him walk all over you. There's a difference between cordial and compliant.
You told me to play nice with others. Now you complain? I don't have to listen to this. I'll finish exploring on my own.
Sorry you had to hear that. Our family feuds aren't usually so dramatic. Raynor always requires a delicate touch, but he's never stormed off before. He hates being on his own. That whole shadow business. I didn't like the way Raynor let that high elf artificer with a dwarven control rod up his arse order us around. My brother didn't deserve to be treated so poorly. I just wish he believed it too. Before I wounded his pride, we were planning to explore this marvelous machine world. He charged off to prove he didn't need my help, and we know how that's going to turn out. I'll let him cool off, but could you make sure he stays out of trouble? What I said to Raynor was pretty harsh, but he can be so infuriating. Look, he might be a brilliant artificer. Unfortunately, he's a terrible dungeon delver. Without me, he's going to get lost or hurt. Just don't mention me when you see him. There are so many intriguing possibilities, I'm not sure which one he tried to tackle first. If I were my brother, I'd start by heading into the radius. We talked about using that gulch with the outflow pipe as a base, so maybe begin there? Like Kwama warriors fighting for the affection of their queen. We're siblings, of course we have arguments. Raynor's a thinker, and I'm all about action. Our differences make us a great team, when we're not engaged in a heated debate. No. Raynor needs some alone time. We both do. No sense starting the same fight all over again. You go talk to Raynor. Help him work things out so we can get back to our usual sibling rivalry. Just don't let him know I sent you.
Will I have to get metal arms now?
Modifications are extensions of the truth of your soul. A gift to those who seek the unending quest of cohesion. Watertight and everlasting.
I'll take that to mean they're optional then. Thanks. Kirith doesn't appreciate my contributions to our partnership. She thinks I'd be lost without her. Well, I'll show her. My superior intellect easily outshines her bravado and daring do. But what brings you out here, my friend? That's a generous offer, but I find your sudden arrival somewhat convenient. Did my sister send you after me? She really does think I'm as helpless as a newborn scrib without her, doesn't she? I knew it! I suppose you think I'm just a useless know-it-all who rolls over and exposes his belly to every snarling aelit and pompous artificer that comes my way. Well, there's more to Raynor Vanos than a superior intellect and a burning curiosity. Yes, but not because of Kirith or because I'm afraid to go out there on my own. The fact of the matter remains. Exploration requires both a brain and some brawn. If you're willing to help, I won't refuse. Let's go see what wonders we can find. There are a number of locations I want to examine. I added them to your map. Lead on, and I will follow. Don't worry. I'll provide any assistance I can, but I have to admit I'm not much of a fighter. That's more Kirith's area of expertise. Same way as you, I imagine. We were looking for the ruins of Balm's Amshend beneath Mournhold when we came across a tiny city inside a clockwork globe. Needless to say, I knew what it was the moment I saw it. The shrinking made me queasy, though. Stern, physically intimidating. To be honest, she scares the scrib jelly out of me. Did you know she was once an Imperial battle mage? During the Riemann dynasty, while fighting in some war, a spell went awry and threw her through time and space. Eventually, Sothasil found her. She was severely injured, but he restored her using supplemental clockwork body parts. Soul gems power the parts, as with any other enchanted item. She's received so many replacements, she's functionally immortal. She also thinks I'm stubborn, antisocial, and a pain in the nether regions. I admit I acquiesced to Naramo's leadership. He has experience, wisdom, qualities that come naturally to someone of his age. To do less would have been disrespectful. Devaith Fear offered to teleport us out of here when we're ready, so that's one option. I plan to find our own way out, though, just in case. After I prove to Kirith that I'm capable of investigating a site on my own. With your help, of course. The Resonant Sphere. One of Sothasil's minor marvels. There! Did you hear it? The same tone that the central spire emits during the night cycle. Let me tell you what I discovered before we move on. Did you notice the perfect symmetry? The total roundness of the form? and the way it reacted to simple, magical impulses? Incredible! If memory serves, the chimes sounded similar to the ones that ring in the Brass Fortress. Applying magic to the sphere provoked an oral response. Perhaps Sotha Seal utilizes different frequencies of sound to perform his divine workings. On the other hand, Lord Set might just appreciate good music. Tribunal doctrine strictly defines the consequences of questioning the methods and mechanisms of our living gods. The apostles here in the Clockwork City emulate Sotha Seal in their own ways, so any questions I ask seem tame by comparison. I wonder how the lubricant winds up in the Veil. Every time I answer one question, 3 more appear to take its place. I'm glad you asked. I surmise that a correlation exists between the lubricant and the dead organic matter inevitably created in the Clockwork City. It has to go somewhere. I speculate that those pumps distribute the grease throughout the complex. Ah, but the fabricants consist of both flesh and machine, and so do the apostles. While the Dwemer were masters of mechanical construction, Lord Set took it a step further by adding living material to the mix. Kirith... No, never mind. I saw this from a distance and was instantly intrigued. There's no rhyme or reason to its function, at least none that I can ascertain. Maybe one day I can return with an entire team. For now, let's move on. What a magnificent monolith! I wonder if the workings extend into the subterranean levels below us. Maybe that's where the true functioning takes place. That's what I've been pondering since making my meticulous inspection of the site. It's a conundrum. Despite what that Slagtown trader told me, I don't see any method for determining what time it is. Kirith suggested, no, I can do this without her. Kirith uses intuition and leaps of logic instead of sound deductive reasoning, but it works for her. More often than not, actually. She thinks the tower is part of a vast underground mechanism that makes the city function. I suppose that makes sense. We need to go back so I can tell Kirith. Damn. I can't believe I let a stupid argument cut my sister out of this. She should have been here. Not that I don't appreciate your help, mind you, but Kirith and we're a team. It does, doesn't it? I'm not sure how to proceed. The complexities of social interaction are Kirith's speciality, not mine. She's my sister and we're a team. We work well together, but she did use some harsh, hurtful words. What do you think? You're right. I can be the bigger person and apologize. I am her older and smarter brother, after all. Let's return to the Brass Fortress. Perhaps you can talk to her first and see how Kirith is doing. She's probably lost and distraught without me.
Did everything go all right? You didn't run into any trouble, did you? Raynor requires constant supervision, especially around ruins and other ancient places. He's extremely smart, but he has few practical skills and he's easily distracted. He does he? Well, I have a few words for Raynor as well. We're partners, and partners don't abandon each other when the going gets rough. Anyway, thanks for making sure he got back here safe and sound. I appreciate it.
Kirith, well, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have stormed off like that. I blame all this metal. I think I'm getting a rash.
I'm sorry too. I said some things that were uncalled for, unfair. That Naramo just makes my skin crawl, you know?
It's the way he talks. Humongous words and a superior attitude.
Sounds like someone else I know. Now, come on and tell me what you've discovered.
What a day! We saw some amazing sights, and we did it without my sister's help. Still, I'm glad we settled things and we're back to being partners again. I suppose I really do rely on Kira's skills and abilities. Anyway, thanks again.
Well, now that that's all over and done with, we can get back to the exciting stuff. I can't wait to crawl around in some of these clockwork contraptions. Anyway, thanks for helping Raynor. I really do worry about him, you know.
By Tawaka's breath, you will talk to me! Say something, damn it! The prognosticator refuses to talk to me. I request a fortune and receive only silence. Is that what my mother died for? I will destroy the false prophet, but not by taking a hammer to its shell. Instead, I'll show my people that it isn't infallible. I'll destroy it by proving that the predictions it makes are blatant lies. To do this, we have to activate the machine. As part of every pilgrimage, the faithful have to descend into the Vale of Tears and secure a working animo core from one of the factotums that roam the area. Head down there and see if any of them have a working power source. I'll figure out how to turn the factotum on and get it to make a prediction. Look, I can't go down there. My mother's body... If I found it, I'd lose the resolve to finish this. And I have to finish this. I hope you understand. Be careful in the Vale. It's dangerous down there.
Reflecting. Reflecting. Memory engaged. Gathering data. The Brass Fortress. Beginning evaluation and analysis. By Set's will, please state your query. Dreaming. Squib jelly. A rainy day. I am a first-generation analysis model factotum, specializing in gathering and analyzing data for and about the citizens of the Brass Fortress. My gears continue to spin true. We count the number of people residing within the Brass Fortress, tracking births, deaths, illnesses, relative wealth, and poverty, all with the purpose of evaluating and predicting social trends and growth within Lord Set's creation. Intriguing query. That is one interpretation of our analytical capability. The ongoing purpose of collecting and analyzing such information is to provide Sotha Seal with the data he needs to improve the lives of his subjects. Query. Reflecting. Reflecting. That information is currently unavailable. Please return to the Brass Fortress and seek out a Clockwork Apostle for further assistance in this matter. Beginning analysis to chart possible outcomes. No relevant data in memory vaults. Error. Error. No pronouncements can be furnished without statistics to analyze. Please present yourself to a Clockwork Apostle for immediate data collection.
Were you able to find an animo core? Were you able to find an animo core? I see you've brought back an animo core. It works, I assume. Good job. While you were gone, I figured out where to install the core. There's a cavity in the machine that looks to be about the right size. I think it goes in there. I'm not sure. I never went on a pilgrimage, so I've never seen the Grand Prognosticator in operation. My mother told me a few stories. She was always vague about the Oracle. Speaking of my mother, did you find anything else down there? How did you know? Oh, you found her. I didn't want to imagine what happened to her, but after seeing what you went through down there... Wait, How did you learn my mother's name if you just found her body? A passphrase? Let me see. Fascinating. I wonder why she kept this a secret. I remember something about a sacred text, though. I'll ask Paul Barton about it later. Right now, I want to know what an obsolete factotum said after you used the passphrase. So that's what the prognosticator uses to make its dire predictions? Information collected about our habits and patterns. How insidious. It makes sense, but how can I get the people to believe it?
By the will of Set, please state your query.
It worked! Prognosticator, tell me what the fates have in store for Comet of Slagtown.
Reflecting. Charting possible outcomes. Comet of Slagtown. Minimum income, inferior quality of life.
Great, you know all about me. But what does it mean? What's my future, you stupid construct?
Query. Reflecting. Prognostication unsatisfactory. Poor quality of life will lead to sickness, starvation, depression, and ultimately, death.
Perfectly dire. Just what I expected. And what about my friend here?
Reflecting. Reflecting. No relevant data in memory vaults. Error occurred. Please present yourself for immediate data collection.
Interesting. The prognosticator doesn't have a prophecy for you. More proof that it uses what it knows to make calculated guesses. But it predicted doom and gloom for me. Now I can change my future and show everyone that our fate isn't fixed. By doing the impossible, I'll find the lost treasure of the Radius. In the past, the pilgrimage included both a visit to the prognosticator and a search for the treasure. That changed after a lot of people died during an unsuccessful hunt. Palbatten survived that doomed hunt. I'll get him to tell me exactly what happened. Then, I can retrace their steps, avoid their mistakes, and find enough wealth to change my fortune. Let's go find the old man in the Brass Fortress.
He's not looking, is he?
It's all right. Let it all out.
I tried. You know, I think it's better on the way out.
Your concern for Tarnished is unusual, but appreciated. She will be fine once the heaving is through.
The oil, it's coating my tongue. I can't get the taste off. Ooh, I can't get it out of my...
I don't know why Brent's so obsessed with trying to get folk down here.
when we should be trying to get up out of this gutter.
Hello again, friend. Don't mind the smell, just baking up a sort of clay souffle. Really scraping the bottom of the ingredient barrel right now. Any luck with those mushrooms? That's great! Let's have a look, eh? Why, that slimy son of a script... He's been lying through his teeth! I could have been growing these mushrooms the whole time. Still, his pickling recipe is just what I needed to make use of them. Great work. I hate the way people look down on Slag Towners. Maybe it's not enough that I help feed these people something worth eating. We're always going to be struggling until the snooty folks on high see we have something to contribute. Produce something that doesn't just help us get by, but makes people up top take notice. I'd love to take something from my homeland and give it its own Slag Town flair. We had some root liqueur that would have been perfect, but we drank all we had. No, I can't imagine how hard something like that is to come by in Clockwork City. Maurice never did say how he came by a case of it, but I'm not one to pry. Couldn't hurt to do some asking around though, right? I really appreciate you volunteering for all this. Not many in Clockwork City who'd stop to spit on us down here, let alone do us a kindness. Oh yes, uncommon stuff. Created by Bosmer ages ago in secret using Elden Root clippings. Blasphemous against the Green Pact, they say. Me? I don't think I've ever even seen the color green. Never had the stuff before I stumbled on Maurice's stash. Well, it's pretty sweet, you see, and almost syrupy as it is. Reckon it'd make a great base for marinade. Much better than boiler coolant, that much I'm certain. Another slag like me. I'm sure you've seen him around and never noticed him. That's just how it goes for us. He's an ambitious sort, always hoping to find a way out of his position down here. I cheer him up whenever his plans fall through. That case he had stashed was a once-in-a-lifetime find, he said. He was gonna sell it to a buyer and leave this all behind, but the deal fell through. So we wound up drinking the whole thing as a pick-me-up. Foolish. Fun, but foolish. When you put it like that, it does seem like a lot to take on. But hey, I don't think they could think any less of us as it is, so no harm in trying.
Are you sure about this, Comet? Remember what happened to your mother?
With the Outsider's help, that treasure is as good as mine. Then everyone will see that the Prognosticator is a fraud!
When I asked you to help Comet, this wasn't exactly what I had in mind. I want to see our people abandon the reckless pilgrimage to the Grand Prognosticator. But going after the treasure is just as dangerous, maybe even more so. Comet seeks to replace one foolish pilgrimage with another. Very well. I can tell you that the treasure exists. I've seen the wreckage of the merchant caravan myself, but getting close enough to recover it, impossible. Because of the massive fabricate that prowls the area. Gear Grinder is bigger than 3 brawny Nords and 100 times more dangerous. It slaughtered the pilgrims that attempted to recover the treasure. I was the only survivor. I'm still uncomfortable with all this, but I can see that you and Comet are determined. The wreckage lies scattered far to the south, near the mountains that form the southern border of the radius. Gear Grinder is a killer. Please, keep Comet safe. Before you go, Comet mentioned you found Malia's journal. He said it contained a passphrase and mentioned Sotha Seal's honored assistant. Is that true? I'm sorry to say that when I was a young man, I came across a sequence plaque that belonged to one of Sotha Seal's original assistants, an apostle called Albacron. The plaque contained a series of passphrases. That's how I found the lost treasure. They allowed me to change the nature of my pilgrimage. I was able to get the Prognosticator to tell me how to locate the lost treasure of the Radius, thus altering my future. Or or so I hoped. But the Fabricant. Maybe our fates are set after all. I'm not sure how I feel, not anymore. But I didn't give Malia the passphrase. She must have found the plaque where I hid it. Maybe if she hadn't... When you return from the wreckage, if you return, I'll tell you more about the passphrases.
Inhibiting factotum operations.
You'll cease this line of inquiry immediately.
We have a right to know, Apostle. If this shadow set really is running around...
If you continue this blasphemy, I will call the guards.
Suddenly afraid of the truths you so fervently preach?
I overheard you talking to Bren about the root liquor, and I had to intervene before you took off on some wild guar chase. Oh, I know you won't. That rare stock was a batch of counterfeit hooch I was trying to pass off on a wealthy mark, but she caught wise. When Bren got into it, I didn't have the heart to tell him it wasn't the real thing. I only made one batch. Suppose I could, but I based it off stuff that isn't easily come by. A part of the mix is Wellspring hooch, and I have on good authority that some students of the catalog of rote duplication keep a stash. Off limits, but that's not the hard part. Well, the other main ingredient can't be found in Clockwork City. Stuff was stolen from the private reserve of some silk shirt in Port Hunding. Even if you could get out of this ticking prison, you'd have to smuggle a crate of the stuff back here. I'll believe you when I see it. If you do pull it off, meet me in Slagtown.
That creature. It's even worse than Palbatin told us. Look, I appreciate all the help, but I don't want to see you die on my behalf. Are you sure you can deal with that beast? I'm no warrior, you know that. Without you, we wouldn't have gotten this far. I'll stay out of the way, so don't worry about me. Just be safe out there and try not to die. You did it! Thanks to you, we found the lost treasure. This proves the prognosticator isn't an oracle. It's just a machine. And not a very good one at that. Now I can show the people of Slagtown that we're not prisoners to destiny. Yes, my friend, spices. Wonderful, delicious spices. That's the most valuable treasure of all, when your diet consists of nothing but flavorless paste. This will not only improve our lives, it will show my people that our fate is not set in stone. More than that, spices are as rare as a blade of grass in a city of metal. Wealthy mages and apostles will pay dearly for such a tempting treat. But I need to be cautious. Others will try to steal this treasure. I need to hide it to keep it safe. Return to Slagtown and meet me there. Then we can show my people how we changed the outcome of the prognosticator's prediction and improved my destiny. I just wish my mother had lived to see this day.
You, find the little thing we talked about? You really are something. How'd you wind up in a dump like this?
Give me a minute to cut this. Little boiler coolant gives it some bite. And there. Genuine Elden Root liquor. Promise you'll keep this between us? I like Bren too much to break his heart. He tries so hard to keep us in good spirits. I'll get out of here before you give it to him.
Hello again, friend. Interest you in a rust crumble cake? It's not so bad once you get past the taste. Texture's nice. This is incredible. Where did you find it? I hope it wasn't too much trouble. Promise I'll stretch this bottle long as it'll last, now that I know better. Now that I got the base for a marinade, it'd be nice to have something to use it on. I'm afraid I used the last of the meat in our larder on that misbegotten stew. Well, that'd be great, but it'll be dangerous. Fabricated critters out in the wild are just as mean as the real thing. Real tender around the flanks, though. Maybe because the machine bits are doing all the work. About a dozen ought to last us a while. One more thing, a special request. Tuba B loved Nixound meat before she wound up here. Brethe Rudarum raises the best you can find, but I can't afford his prices. I'd really like to impress her, and I know where he keeps his stash. You really are the best. Bretheru keeps his fresh meat in an airtight trunk at his stables until he's ready to either cook it or preserve it. If he just nick a little, he does well for himself, probably won't even miss it. Oh, well, I mean, you could, sure. It's just, I could never pay you back for something like that. Just one cut costs more than I'll even have in my life down here. Everybody down here is special to me. We're all we've got. But I do guess I got a soft spot for her. She's never once complained about my cooking. Even when I know it's eye-wateringly bad, it's always, thank you, and a scratch behind the ears. Only that they're probably more dangerous than your average beastie, but I'd be pretty fearless about what I'd try to take a bite out of if I had metal teeth too. Be careful. I'd feel terrible if you got hurt on account of me.
I've called a few people together so I can tell them what we've done. Hopefully, word will then spread throughout Slagtown and all of the Brass Fortress. Palbatin and I talked about my mother. We don't think she saw the prediction from the Oracle. We think she was out there trying to do the same thing as me. She was trying to figure out how the prognosticator works so she could get it to change our fortunes. Palbatin believes she acquired the passphrase from the sequence plaque he hid away. That's our best guess. She was trying to help us. All of us. I just wish she had told me. That she hadn't tried to do it on her own. Well, thanks to you, I succeeded where she failed. Now we just have to convince the rest of Slagtown. Art. That's not something you hear a lot about in a place that runs on gears and cogs. Here. This is your share of the treasure. You earned it. Oh, and Palbatin wants you to meet him in the Outlaw's Refuge afterward. He has something for you, too. People of Slagtown, I bring you a revelation. The prognosticator lies, but we can change our fortunes. We have free will.
Comet, the apostles say there's no such thing as free will.
What you're implying is heresy, Comet.
Is it heresy to speak the truth? I performed the pilgrimage. I received the usual grim fortune that predicted I'd be poor until I died. But that future is a false future. I refused to accept that fate, and I changed it. And if I can do it, so can you.
Oh, really? You look just as destitute as you did yesterday, Comet. Maybe even more so.
I found the lost treasure of the Radius. I made a deal to sell some of the spices, and this is the contract. I'm rich!
So we can change our fate? The future isn't a set sequence?
We have to tell everyone. Comet changed the future. The prognosticator was wrong.
These Nix hounds may be part machine, but they're all animal at heart. I care for them the best I can and love them while they're living, but even I have to put food on the table. If I do, it's mostly a coincidence. They're hand-raised mostly just for my own needs, but I'll sell off some surplus now and again. Takes a lot of effort, so I don't part with it cheap. I can fetch some from my larder, if it's worth it to you. You'll never find meat more mercifully raised, I'll promise you that. Might put this toward new bedding for Twitchy and Hopper. Take care now.
Was just popping up for some fresh-ish air, and what do I find but the tangy smell of fresh meat? Looks like you've had some luck at the butcher's. Perfect. I can take that off your hands now. Gonna need to give it a good soak in that marinade before I can get dinner started. Come by later and I'll have something to thank you for all this good effort. I insist.
Hey there! I told Razgurg about a job you might be interested in. Track him down and he'll give you the details.
All right, friends. The guest of honor has arrived. I've cooked up something special for you all. Soon to be favorites, I'm sure. For you, Kara, a mushroom-filtered meat stew. No more of that overwhelming metallic tang, I promise. And for you, Maurice, root liqueur marinated fabric chop neatly braised, soon to put Slagtown on the culinary map. And finally, Tubaby, the crown jewel of my feast. Hand-fed Nix fillets in a mushroom and root liqueur reduction.
Oh, you shouldn't have.
And for my newest friend, I have a special treat.
Ah, that sickly sweet smell. It reminds Tubaby of skooma. Not that this one would know anything about that.
Bren says those fabricants are tender. So's a peach until you hit the pit.
I don't think I've ever seen Brengolin heave up his own makings. Wonder if it's because he's only tasting a tiny bit. Or maybe being raised here gave him brass guts. Oh no. Maybe he's really a fabricant.
Fire? Sweet, airy, a hint of crunch.
I never would have been able to concoct any of these wonderful dishes without you. And you've clearly got an appreciation for food. So, I've conjured up a unique recipe to help you through your time in Clockwork City. I hope you enjoy it. Nothing too difficult, I promise. Most of the ingredients should be readily available in Clockwork City, so you shouldn't have to jump through any more hoops for a decent meal.
All right. Here goes.
Might need a little nip of that liquor after this. Delicious.
Hey, Bren, this is good. You did it.
Oh, my. There is a hint of home in this. Thank you.
I don't know about you, but I've really worked up an appetite. You know, I got so busy I completely forgot to make something for myself. Yes, absolutely. I'll be able to keep serving decent meals for a few weeks at least. It'll give me time to think of some new recipes, and maybe some more easily acquired ingredients. Didn't mean to make you watch other people eat with an empty setting. Just didn't know when you'd next be in, so I made you something that would keep. It'll be worth the effort, I promise. Based on the reaction so far, I think they just might. I was really worried. But with not having tasted more than that mealy paste for most of my life, I thought maybe I had an underdeveloped sense of taste.
I'm so proud! I nearly wrenched just thinking about the last two, but I held it together. Oh, and I'm glad I did. Brengelin really worked a miracle this time. We might just be able to kick the paste after all.
Real food. Or near as I can tell, I don't care. Didn't think I'd ever come back for seconds down here. Bren ever needs more of your help, count me in.
This one did not expect to taste such fine things again in her life. Tubabi will miss the moons a little less tonight. She is grateful to Bringolin and to you.